All right, it's Christmas morning, 2023, and you're probably wondering why I would post a video this morning, so it's only going to be quick. But there were a couple of things I wanted to point out from watching the Polar Express movie last night, which is something that my family and I always do Christmas Eve. Since my daughter was a toddler, so over 20 years. Christmas Eve, we watched the Polar Express movie. And it holds up really well. It's a great movie. It's a beautiful movie. But there's a couple of things in it that have always bothered me. And they bother me enough that I thought I would take a few minutes out of the celebration of Christmas and tell you what they are. And then you can choose what to do with that information. So there's two problems that are worth highlighting, and maybe an observation, a third piece that would be an observation. And I'm just going to, and one of them is really egregious, and the other one is up for debate. So I'm going to start with the really egregious error. One of the things that I really like about the movie is the ghost of the Polar Express, right? The sort of the hobo figure who lives on top of the train and appears throughout the movie with weird, magical powers, mystical understanding. And when you first see him, he's playing the Hurdy Gurdy. He's playing Good King Wenceslas on the Hurdy Gurdy. In fact, the most popular video on my channel is me in a short, about 30 seconds long, playing Good King Wenceslas on my Hurdy Gurdy. Here's my Hurdy Gurdy. Now, the problem with the movie, to make sure I'm in camera with this, is that he's turning the crank. I'm not going to strap this in. He's turning the crank, and then he's playing it underhand, like this, which just isn't how you play the hurdy-gurdy. You can see that very soon you start to get, you play the hurdy-gurdy overhand like this. You don't play it like this. It would be like if someone were playing the piano with their knuckles, like this instead of like this. I think. I was trying to think what would be equivalent. It's only be like if someone were playing the guitar and they were, instead of playing like this, they were playing it like this, which I suppose you do. It's just weird. It's wrong. They shouldn't be doing it. Go watch it. You first see him on top of the train. I'm 99.99% certain that you never play the hurdy-gurdy underhand. Certainly on my instrument you couldn't, because the body of the instrument gets in the way of the upper keys. You just can't reach them. Plus, there's no way that you play it like this. So they just didn't think that maybe there are train enthusiasts looking at the locomotive, because that nerdy kid said, oh, it's a 264 or a 284 Brixton or whatever, I don't know, Barnstormer or whatever it is. Maybe, I bet they got that right. I bet they checked that it was the right kind of locomotive. But the hurdy-gurdy is being played wrong. It sounds great, but he's obviously not playing it, because you can't play it like that. You just can't do it. My other video last week, you don't need to cross the thumb to play the hurdy-gurdy. But if you're playing it this way, and even assuming you could, you would, it's just wrong. I mean, tell me if I'm wrong. I mean, tell me if I'm just complaining about something that's, I think it's egregious. Let me put this away for a second. And here's my second one. So the kid that goes all the way to the North Pole on the Polar Express, and because he doesn't really believe in Santa Claus, Father Christmas, he can't hear the sleigh bells, right? And the little girl who is developing into the leader of the group, with her self-confidence increasing and her ability to make decisions, she can hear the bells right from the get-go, and she uses that to guide them when they're lost. But he, the kid, the little boy, can't hear them. So he's standing there in the North Pole, surrounded by, I don't know, 10,000 elves. Santa Claus coming with his big sleigh. Santa Claus right there, coming up behind him, and he's holding the bell, shaking it. You can't hear it. We're in his position in the movie, right? We don't hear the bell until he does. And he's saying, okay, I believe. And he's forcing himself to believe. Like, that isn't how belief works, right? Belief comes from reason. Now, your reasons can be irrational, or they can be experiential, or they can be logical. Like, I believe 2 + 2 = 4. You know, right? Belief verges onto knowledge. Religious belief is based on experience that is irrational. You cannot, it's ineffable. Belief could be confidence, I believe that meditation practiced diligently will reveal the nature of self to anybody, regardless of religious or logical belief. Belief is faith, which means really just certainty. He's there saying, I'm going to make myself believe. I want to believe. I will believe. Okay, he says, okay, I will believe. But he's surrounded by a bunch of fucking elves, and Santa Claus is right there. He doesn't need to make himself believe anything. He just needs to open his eyes. There's Santa Claus. Like, what's... It's a poorly thought through sequence. As soon as he saw Santa Claus come down, I would have argued as soon as he got on the train, his belief structure, his framework, his epistemology around Christmas would have changed. So I just don't. It's a jarring moment in an otherwise quite wonderful sequence. The elf Santa Claus reveal. We have 1,000, 10,000, however many elves singing, like chanting, "Here comes Santa Claus, here comes Santa Claus." It's wonderful. And then Santa Claus, big Santa Claus. And he's still saying, I must believe, I want to believe. Open your eyes. It's right there. The proof that you need is right there. You don't need to force belief. Belief doesn't work that way. You cannot make yourself believe anything. You believe something because of an experience or because of reason. And there's no control over what you believe or not. I think this verges into the discussion that Sam Harris has around free will. And I'm definitely in that camp. You can no more choose what you believe than choose what you're going to think next. We are a flow of conditions. You can call them karmic traces if you want, or you can call it cause and effect. And belief is a part of that. It responds to experience. It responds to logic. Again, it doesn't have to be rational. You can believe something that maybe doesn't stand the scrutiny of reason. It doesn't change the fact that you believe it. But you can't say, I'm going to believe this. I'm going to believe in Santa Claus. I don't know. You just can't do it. So Let me know what you think about both of those. The Hurdy Gurdy piece, I know I had a moment's doubt there, but I'm absolutely confident. The only reason I have a moment's doubt is because they're so careful in a lot of other details. Um, and then the nature of belief, the nature, it's just not right. It's just wrong. It's not even that it's juvenile. It's just wrong. It's just, you don't force belief. The observation is that there's no Rudolph. It's just the eight. It's canon, very canonical. It's just the eight reindeer, Santa Claus, and the elves. There's no Rudolph. Rudolph is a story, a wonderful story, but it's not even apocryphal. It's not. There's no grounding for Rudolph in any of the source material. So good for them. Although if they'd put Rudolph in there, I'm sure it would have been nice too. But so that's my thought on the Polar Express. Again, a beautiful movie. I was thinking they could redo it. It's been out for 40 years, right? A long time. I thought it would be good if they went, he got on the Polar Express. It's always 5 to midnight until it's Christmas Eve. Then they go home. They're taken home. They're dropped off. And everyone he knows is aged. His parents are dead. His little sister's 80 years old. The village, the town, whatever, the suburb he used to live in Grand Rapids is, like it is now, run down. I don't know what Grand Rapids is, right? I'm thinking about the car manufacturing places, Detroit, places like that. Maybe I'm sure Grand Rapids is a wonderful place. That's how I would do it. I'd probably keep everything else the same. Just it's fairy time. You've gone away. For you, it's been 4 minutes. For everyone around you, it's 80 years. Something like that. Anyway, blessings of the season to you all. I'm going to do something around the new year. Do a review of the books I've read and the records I've listened to. Top 10, something like that. And then start the new year fresh with a bunch of new projects and new work. So keep your wits about you.